Okay, well, let me move on to the next class. We still got 3 classes to get through. These classes don't really relate as much, but I still think I learned and am learning so much from them. So um this one I wouldn't have thought that I would have learned so much about coaching, but I think it really does relate. So this is financial accounting. So at first glance, it might not look like it really relates to the hockey world necessarily, but a couple things. One is it was really hard, and there was a ton of information thrown at us really, really quickly. So as a learner, having to go to tutorial sessions, having to look online, having find these other ways to also learn on top of not only the way that the professor is disseminating the information, which isn't landing with each person, but as the person trying to find ways to make it make sense. Now, I'm an engineer, so I love numbers, but financial accounting is more logic and it is different than I kind of thought it would be. It's about bookkeeping semantics, and really making sure that logically everything makes sense and that the steps are all taken so that you can make decisions at the end. That's really what financial accounting is having everything in place and having done everything you possibly can do to be able to make the correct forecasting decision. So reading the numbers, it's like understanding advanced hockey analytics. And I know that for a lot of us, a lot of this stuff is new, but understanding whether it's Corsi, Fenwick, various different hockey analytics programs. And if you don't have those programs within a minor hockey system, which not all of them do, being able to think and see on the ice what are expected goals, what what were good plays, what were plays that the player looked like they were making the right decision and the play just didn't happen that way. So being able to coach to that way as well, and how to evaluate your team performance over time. So having matrix in place so that you're able to, when you're right in it as a coach, you don't often see the improvement. But having some guidelines or some things that some set matrix at the beginning so that you can analyze over time against those, I think is really key as a coach. Back to the resource allocation, ice time is a bit like cash flow. You only have so much to go around, and how you spend it really matters. So, ensuring that you get every player into situations that are going to help them improve. But yet, there's still this overarching idea that you want to be the best team as well. And so, how do you do that? And so, that's sort of like cash flow within an organization. You only have so much to go around. You have to make the tough decisions. Do you give it to marketing? Do you give it to research and development? Where do you spend your money? Where do you put your ice time? And then sustainable growth. So just as a company avoids overspending, a coach has to balance pushing players hard enough to improve without causing burnout or injury in those situations. So the takeaway for the coaches is that numbers always tell a story. And that having as many numbers as you can will only help with your decision making, whether it's money, whether it's minutes. Tracking and understanding key metrics really will help make you be a better team, but also make smarter coaching decisions. So I'm going to open this up and get your opinions on that.
I just got a point here, trying to make it minor hockey.
Mhm.
Uh, when you're talking finances, you've got an association budget, but basically parents pay a fee. Then they have to raise money and there's cash calls. So basically, they're the ones affording the experience. And how that money is utilized is decided by board members with um, deciding to prioritize that.
Mhm.
And I just think the volunteer of the parent and those that do volunteer in their perspective is so critical to the sustenance of a culture in an organization. And I think what minor hockey organizations should do is have to just create a synergy between the parties. And
Mhm.
that's one of the most difficult things of all. But I just wanted to bring up the parents and the appreciation. My role is actually just to go to games and sit with parents. And I'm the grandfather figure, and uh, I may be on a bench running a drill like I did last night from the bench. The coaches are running it on the ice, and but the parents know me because I've been around at every age level for a few years. And so the relationship with them is very good. And I believe that the vast majority of them have the right philosophy and perspective of why their kids are in the sport. And at least sport, that doesn't mean they're not there to win. I think they really do appreciate what it takes. So
Mhm.
I just wanted to get that out. And
Well, and I love that aspect too, Wally, of seeing the best in people too. Like you do see the best in people, so
yeah.
that's a skill too.
So Tom, anything to add on?
Well, I think what Sammy goes relate to hockey, it's almost like moving Moneyball, where you seen that movie?
Yes, yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah, and that's what that's all about, right?
Mhm.
You, you gather statistics, and they got that or something. Became a very elite team because they started trading for players that nobody paid much attention to, but the statistics showed that they're really reliable players in certain situations and
Those
this sort of
stats too,
thing.
I like Tom, I think of you emphasizing hard, crisp passes. Not many other teams do that, but just recognizing that that can be a differentiator because that stat in the past has shown to create skilled players. And that you do that, like that to me is the differentiator too.
Oh, it's incredible. Like that, the passes that we keep. That you see some players make one pass and complete a pass in the entire game. Oh, like how effective are they out there? They're
Mhm.
they're, uh, they're turnover machines, kind of. They get the puck, they're going to get rid of it, and it really shows who can play the game and all this sort of thing. And it shows what you really have to work on. Minor minor hockey, your job is to get better. You have to practice to that. Bob Murdoch, I used to sit beside him for years in the restroom, plus 55. And he said the only stat he really focused on was every time you get the puck, you either make a play or gain a zone. So the other team doesn't end up with a puck unless there's no other option. And he had some stats on that too. So if a player just gains his zone, dumps it out all the time, and plays are plus for that. But he said if your team is about 65%, you have a good chance of winning. 70% you're going to win by a lot, and 60% you're going to get by a lot. The puck management, and then
Would you do that watching, like rewatching a video later?
yeah,
Or would you be doing that in the moment? Because that's hard skill for a coach in the moment.
well, you know I watch or pay attention to who makes plays when they get the puck, and the other team got the puck after they every time they touch the puck. But that stat I have someone keep really reinforces that. Some of the players will have 20 passes completed, or another one has two. And so I agree with you totally on the keeping, keeping data, and that helps you as a coach plan practice. And I did it for the second pro team, American coach. I did it for him in his games and in the Red Bulls. he really appreciated it. Getting some hard data to making plays. It's very valuable to say data.
Maybe
Just give a little
something too that
example.
in
My
minor
son,
hockey, coaches can allocate that to a parent, right? Like that might
yeah,
be something a parent could take that stat.
well, that's what's happened the last few years. My son started a small law firm, two girls, they all graduated together. And the financial stuff you're talking about, none of them took a business.
Hmm.
And the lawyer stuff, they were great at the lawyer.
Right, but the other stuff is tough. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, you gotta pay these fees for your license and all this kind of stuff. Track of everything. That was the most stress he had. This is
Yeah.
this financial kind of stuff. Uh, he just changed jobs to be a prosecutor.
Mm.
So that's a big challenge for him too. And when this for he had his first trial with a jury 2 weeks ago,
Oh, that's stressful.
and that was really neat to experience. Anyways,
I think he won.
yeah, he did win it. He was really
Oh, that's
worried
fun.
because they hired these high priced lawyers, and they tried to confuse everything, kind of like the O.J. Simpson case where
Oh
they
yeah.
argued about
Yeah.
DNA for days. You know, so he was afraid it was going to get thrown out and all this kind of stuff. But anyways, that's kind of neat to watch. Get an update from how
Oh,
it's
good for
going.
him.
He ended up winning.
Tommy, there's a program when you talk analytics and numbers and learning from the numbers and using the numbers well, it's Instat. It's used
Oh
by
yeah. We used Instat with
yep.
the Furies, the Toronto team. Hmm.
Tom. How do you use Instat?
Well, I look at the data, and you know, gives you information about each player and how your team did, and that's useful. Jim likes it a lot. He really likes it, and I look at it to get a kind of general view. The way I distribute responsibilities for the team, he's more or less in charge of the forwards. It's very useful.
Hmm. So does somebody film the game for you and you upload it to Instat?
Well, yeah, it's part of our league.
Oh,
Every
the
game
league
has to
pays
be
for it.
every yeah, every game has to be videoed. And this rink, we're going to play this tournament in this weekend's hardest rink. It's all flat for the
Mm,
video to get the numbers, because the numbers calculated, how many everything they
right.
did. And yeah, so every game you get a report from Hubble.
Do you have to film it or can you use like Live Barn or no?
Uh, they have a separate camera. I don't know if does Live Barn have that weird shaped rink?
Yeah.
I'll tell you a little story about Live Barn. Is I got a new manager, and she texted me earlier in the week. She says, "Well, Tom, I'll be gone for 2 weeks, but I'll still do the managing from there." And I said, "Oh, when do you leave?" She says, "Oh, I'm already on the beach in Maui right now." So, but we played Airdrie on Sunday, and she watched the game live on.
It's pretty
Why?
amazing that you can. Yeah.
Yeah, that is
Even my
pretty
women's
amazing.
rec team
Hmm?
will cut clips, like funny, they're usually funny clips,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they'll put it on our like WhatsApp group. And but it's like pretty good images. I'm pretty amazed.
Oh yeah, it's unbelievable the information. Fun
It's
to
Yeah.
use it, I
great.
guess.
It's a great resource from an organization point of view. We're holding coaches accountable to the minutes players play. You have four lines, that's 15 minutes each. And we don't want anybody to get less than 11 or 10, between 10 and 11 minutes. And I think uh, there's something a team is doing now, and There's players that have 4 or 5 that have 25 and 28 minutes, so it doesn't take too much to figure out. Some others are getting something like 6 and 7, or there's a whole bunch at 10. But it it relates to the ability to make everybody feel part of a team if they get to play and learn and develop. And that's what the message that I sort of want to deliver to our organization. And we're working really hard at it. So
Let me talk about the next class because it relates to this. So I'll get into this. It's called Business Decision